Sure. Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Good, Bob.
Hey, I wanted to ask a couple things about Cam Little. I know in fall camp you talked about how he was really hitting those long ones, and that seems like that's carried over to the season. Just what do you thought about the kind of season he's had? And he seems like he's taken it even to a higher level than he did last season.
He really has. We was talking about it on the walk today about how a guy of his stature can kick the ball so far. I guess little guy, smaller guys on tee box can hit it a country mile too. But he hit a yesterday in 2 minute drill. He hit a 68 yarder. I mean, at the end to win the game. And I'd never seen anything like it. But he's done a absolutely great job, and what a wonderful person. And we're very fortunate. Accuracy is off the chart, and just having a great year for us. Very valuable for us. We need to give him an opportunity to need to stay close enough in the fourth quarter to give him an opportunity to win a game for us, and I bet you he will.
How great a weapon is that to have? Maybe when you cross midfield, you almost feel like you're in his range. Maybe a few more yards to get.
I find myself a lot of times, talking on the headset to Dan, and right when we get inside the 40, or depending on where Cam says he can make it from, depending on which end he's kicking to, I always remind Dan. I say, hey, we got three here. We got three here. Obviously, we want seven, or I'm talking about on third down where third and long or something where you might want to run a draw or something like that, where because you have 3 points, so it's really, really comforting to know that he's on our team.
Thanks.
Right. Yeah, Coach, you talked a little bit about just the pressure with Alabama. They have 22 sacks this season. I was wondering if you could comment a little bit what you see on Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell. Those guys have 6.5, 4.5 sacks each, and just the pressure that they bring, and what you guys got to do to stop that.
Well, I think we have to win third down. We're going to have a way to move the pocket. We're going to have a way to chip both sides. We need some help. That's nothing negative against our guys up front. It's just a lot of guys need help against those caliber of rushers. We can't let them just change the football game simply because those guys are on the field. We have to have answers for them, which we feel like we do. But they're defensively, Trey, they're so good, and there's not a guy out there that you go, man, we can pick on this guy, or he's not as good as Alabama normally is, and all that. They're really, really good, really solid, and it starts with those defensive ends, and I think they got 3 or 4 of them that are that caliber. Dallas, he's been around for a long, long time. I remember him playing as a freshman against us. So really good player, got a lot of experience, long, very, very quick, very powerful. They're very, very powerful guys. They can run around you or bull over the top of you, which makes them dangerous.
On the other side of the ball, Amari Niblack, the tight end, they move him all over the place, line him in the slot, out wide. What are the challenges with defending? I mean, he only has like 9 catches, but it's like 170 yards.
I think when you look at them, the thing that would be surprising is that they're a dominant 12 personnel team. They look like 10, they look like 11 personnel, but they like to play 2 tight ends, and he's a big part of that, and a very, very good player. Obviously, I think those numbers you just said are fairly high for not every tight end, but they're fairly high for a tight end position. Obviously, a big target for him, and he can do everything. I think he's very, very valuable to their team. It's going to catch, obviously can have some matchup problems for us, but we can't just do 1 or 2 things in a game. We have to be very aggressive. We have to be able to play drop 8. We have to first and foremost stop the run, but he is valuable to them in all aspects of the game. Really good football player.
Thanks, Coach.
Evan. Yeah, hey coach. Over the weekend, Ken and Sandy, one of the super fans of the Hogs, traveled the game and was mistreated by a lot of the fans from Ole Miss. What to you does it mean to have him, as well as the whole bunch of Razorback fans who travel to support this team on the road?
Right, it's Arkansas. You don't ever want to go and take it for granted, but we've ever since we've gone over to Ole Miss, ever since I've been a part of here and went to Ole Miss, we've had a whole lot of fans. It's unfortunate if Cannon had gotten mistreated. It's very, very unfortunate. What a wonderful man. But the passion for the Hogs, and with that comes the positives and the negatives, because passion means passion. It doesn't mean positive passion. And I certainly understand that. That comes with the territory, but I would much rather have it that way than have nobody care about the program. And we're very, very appreciative of the fans. I think we'll see it when we finally get back home after 30 some days away from home. I think we'll finally get to feel the passion of the fans once again. But we're very, very grateful, very, very thankful for them.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, Sam, I know you hope Pooh Paul's able to go, but if he's not, just how comfortable do you feel with the other linebackers you've got to go out there aside with Thomas?
I think the key there is if they get into tight 12, they'll be in two tight ends. If they get into tight 12s a lot, which they have YY formations, if they get in there a lot, then our capabilities of playing it just takes another linebacker out, because now you need to be in a 3 linebacker set. So it takes normally you're rotating 2. If you get a whole lot of smash mouth, you're rotating 3, and we're not quite that deep. So it certainly could hurt us in that aspect. But I'm very comfortable with the guys we have in the game. Obviously Pooh was a 1 for a reason. But I think what it's going to do is just going to make us look a little bit more at our substituting patterns, depending on what we see, whether it's tight 12, open 12, 11.
And then also we saw this past week, y'all broke out y'all's version of the Philadelphia Eagles, quarterback under center, QB sneak on 3rd and 1. I'm just curious kind of how that play came about. Is that something y'all put in that week, or is it something you've been waiting for the right opportunity?
No, we put it in. Well, we've had it in, but we put it in fast pace. It was a hurry up type situation. And I got nervous because LSU did it against Missouri 2 or 3 times and didn't score from this far, earlier in that day. And I'm like, oh my Lord. But we had said we thought it would work, and it did, but we put it in, changed it a little bit and we wanted it to be in a hurry up mode, a fast made surprise type deal to help us get the yard.
Jackson.
Yeah, Sam, just curious about, we saw Snacks playing out wide and Hudson. We've seen him kind of, mix between hog and safety. I think you had some confidence in your 5 guys, like being versatile, but I'm wondering if they've even exceeded your expectations from what you thought in the preseason with the secondary.
Yeah, really good question. I felt like this last week we played the most confident that we have. Now we still got to get guys on the ground and tackle a little bit better and things. We've got work to do, but I felt like that group played really well. And I think some of that has to do with the versatility of guys like a Clark, like Snacks. Obviously we got beat up last week physically. So we're not quite as what you might call non-confident in our guys because we feel a lot of confidence in them because they've been able to play and show that they can have success. And again, we learned that cross training a little bit during that COVID year, and we continued to do that. And that way it's kind of allowing us to get our best 5, what we feel is the best 5 on the field at the same time. And I'm very confident that the kids will go out and play well. They're going to have to they're going to have to defend the long ball. And we know that.
specifically snacks. I mean, it's a lot of times it's hard for guys to bounce between the slot and the boundary. What skill set does he have that allows him to do that?
I think first of all, it starts in his mind. I think he thinks that he can play nose guard. You know, I think he thinks he could. You know, and not a overconfident. I mean, just a confident guy. But he possesses it. He possesses enough size. If you could go out and recruit big corners, that's what you'd want, because now you got a guy that's got the size, the ability to play corner, but yet he can go play a hog, he can play safety, you know, all those type things. And a little bit, that's what Snacks is. He's got enough size to play the hog, but he's also got enough quickness to play the corner. And when we got him, there was not any thought in our mind for him to go the hog position. We got him as a corner. And then we found out what type of tackler he was and the aggressiveness that he had, and we were able to move him into hog. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, Sam, I wanted to ask you about Jeffcoat. No, he was kind of quiet the couple weeks before Ole Miss, and then he had 3 tackles for loss the other night. Just maybe how do you view his importance this weekend in terms of trying to get pressure on Milroe and being there for you in the run game?
Yeah, I think obviously, I think the first thing you have to do is you've got to defend the run. When you're talking about Alabama, they've got a pair of tackles weighed 360 pounds. I mean, they're little guys, you know, 310 pounds. But Jeffcoat, and a lot of times it goes in what is the offense trying to do against you. You know, do they look at you as a game changer? Are they chipping you? Are they double teaming you? Are they running plays at you? Are they running plays away from you? Because if you look at his first game of the year, Western Carolina, it was, you know, there was no stats, but we knew we had us a really good player. So I think, you know, there was more opportunities came his way to make plays. Obviously, we know every time they drop back to pass, you have an opportunity to sack the quarterback, but are they going to chip out on you? Do they run a tight end over the top of you? Do they slide towards you? And then you just have to be ready to make the play if they don't. And I think Ole Miss had a lot of one-on-one battles with him and things of that nature, and he was able to win some of those.
I know we saw, and Jackson mentioned it earlier, but Snacks and Nudy at corner. If you get in fastball yesterday, if you get Nudy back this week, Snacks on the other side, how do you just feel about those guys matching up with maybe some Alabama's top perimeter guys?
Yeah, I mean, we played some really good wide receivers, and we understand that we played LSU. They've got some good ones, you know, and so we played some good wide receivers. It's going to be about our technique, things of that nature. We obviously know Alabama has outstanding wideouts and a guy that can get it to them. But I feel good about it. You know, obviously, if we don't feel good about man-to-man coverage, we'll do some type of zone and try to, you know, we can drop 8. We can do some different things to try to help the guys. But I feel good about our guys playing well.
You know, Braxton's wound up getting some starting time and significant reps at corner. Can you talk about maybe what's allowed him to, you know, make the rise that he's made? And I know you may or may not be without him this weekend, but just what he's done to put himself into that mix.
You know, I talked to him about it yesterday, actually, and it was about my experience when I played in college and his experience. I said, hey, is this what happened to you? Because basically I had seen exactly what you're asking me about, what you've seen. And basically what happened is it just clicked for him. What he's supposed to do, how he's supposed to do it, it just all kind of finally clicked. It happened to me when I played football as well. So now you're seeing that true athletic ability that he has and the speed that he has. And I'm going to tell you now, when they wouldn't let him go back in the game, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing, I mean, he was emotional now. I mean, it bothered him. And he's a guy that loves to play the game and finally earned his right to be that starter and was playing extremely well. And whether he's able to play or not, I don't know. but his future for us is really bright. And to answer your question, I think it finally clicked to him. He understood the calls, understood where he's supposed to be on the field and things, and just let his athletic ability take over at that point. Quit thinking as much.
Otis.
Coach, I know you entered the season with a lot of momentum and recruiting. You've lost 4 straight, but I know you can't talk specific, but just how's the general feeling with the interactions with the recruits been on the phones and stuff?
You know, I think a lot of our recruits are coming for reasons to play for the Razorbacks, you know, play for the state of Arkansas. I think there's several different reasons. I think some of them are coming to play for their position coach and, you know, all those type things. I feel really, really good about the guys that we have committed to us, real good. But we also work very hard at keeping that relationship going too. We know there's vultures out there and they're saying that we're lost 4 in a row and they're letting them know too, like they don't already know. It's their school that they're committed to. But it's a relationship game. It's a relationship business, if you will. And as long as we keep our relationships, I do not feel like we'll have much of a problem of losing any of our commits.
In the 24 class, I know you've got a lot of high school kids committed, not the portal's coming up, but are there any more high school needs you have in the 24 class other than what you have now?
You know, I think, you know, obviously if we could find another linebacker out of high school, we may take him. O-linemen are always guys that we would take. We're actively looking in the 24 class because you just never stop recruiting, you know, but if we could sign 19 or 20 of the ones that we want, I think I'd be very satisfied and then trade out portal for portal.
Yeah. TJ Metcalf, he's just continuing to come on for you, isn't he, Coach? I mean, kind of like Braxton in a way. I mean,
yes.
Metcalf, just what's he meant to you, your
Yeah,
team?
you know, his only deal is his opportunities haven't come quite as often as what Braxton's have, but we have a lot of confidence in him, and he is playing faster as well. And I think he's going to be a really big part of our future. But I really like him a lot. I like his family. I like everything about him. But his opportunities just haven't come quite as often as Braxton's, just because of who's playing in front of him. But and the injury situation and things of that nature. But I think he's going to be a really good player, and he's doing a really good job for us now.
Thanks, Coach.
Daniel.
You mentioned Braxton and things kind of finally clicking for him. For some of the younger guys who maybe, you know, have not been doing as well and have been units that have been struggling, is that something that's still work in progress for them that you can kind of gauge?
Did you say, I'm sorry, I heard most of it, but it blotched out during, did you say something about a unit or?
Yeah. Particularly like any of the younger guys who are still kind of a work in progress as far as understanding the schemes and things of that nature.
Yeah. I'm saying every one of them, except for the guys that are getting a lot of playing time. You know, at this point in time, during the season, your young kids, if they're not playing a 1 or 2, they're on a scout team, you know, so they're not doing a whole lot of, they're doing individual, they're doing game study, but even half of that, they're out walking through the look team. So at some point, if you don't get off the scout team, at some point you're getting better, you're getting physically better, you're getting technique better, but towards the playbook and things of that nature, you're not. But to answer your question, the answer is yes and no. Yes, they are learning. It's starting to click as far as the technical part of it, the technique and things of that nature. And then obviously not getting a whole lot of meeting time on game plans and our specific offense and defense.
Jackson, last one.
Muted. Sorry, I just wanted to piggyback off that real quick. Does Tai Washington, like what he did against Ole Miss, does that kind of motivate you guys to maybe find out what some of the other guys a little further down on the depth chart that haven't played much, see what they can do? Or is it clearly just he was so explosive in practice, it was a kind of a rare or something different there?
Well, I think part of Ty's deal is there wasn't a whole lot of difference between him and the guys ahead of him. You know, not a whole lot of difference. I think to answer your question, I think if there's not a huge amount of difference, I think you really look at the younger kid, the non-experienced guy. You look at him, you try to get him in the game, and hopefully they'll take off like TJ has, like Braxton has. You know, we're getting Gaffard more reps, things of that nature. But if there's a big separation in there, probably not. But if they're close, and even though Ty was down the depth chart, there wasn't a huge separation between him and the others.
Thank you.